Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to another episode of the Refined Savage podcast. Let's do our normal show business, and then we'll get on to the story. Let's talk about Viking Coffee. Evan Armstrong up in Michigan now brewing the best coffee around. It is my favorite, and my favorite obviously is Old Man Strength, which is the blend from the show, but he's got a ton of different blends out there. The Ethiopian is great. I just had some Send It this morning, which is great. Check them all out and give him a holler. Let's support this guy. He's an artist making really amazing coffee, and it's better than anything you're going to get at the store. So check him out, vikingcoffeeco.com. Use the code VikingCoffee10 at checkout. Warrior CBD. CBD oil is all the rage, man. Everybody's got their own CBD oil they're plugging, they're promoting, they're creating, but Nancy at Warrior CBD has been in this business for a long, long time. I've used a ton of different CBD oils, and Warrior is my favorite by far. You know, people tell me, I try to tell them about Warrior CBD, and they're getting CBD, especially here in Ohio. Most of it's garbage, guys. I mean, if you're buying it in a gas station or a grocery store, it's not the same stuff. Again, another artist, Nancy, puts her heart and soul into these products, and they are truly effective. They're good for you. They're if you have joint pain, if you have anxiety, if you have stress, if you have problems sleeping, if you have a whacked out dog who's afraid of thunderstorms or fireworks, they have a product for you. So check them out at warriorcbdofficial.com. Use the code WARRIOR20 off at checkout. Serious Steel is the place to go if you need to outfit any kind of gym, whether it's your garage gym or a big commercial gym or anything in between. Serious Steel has every piece of equipment you could want. They just have everything you need for lifting weights. That's just the bottom line. Run by some fantastic human beings. When Chad Clark first got me hooked up with these guys, I knew that it was going to be a good partnership, and it has been nothing but the best. I just bought some new hand grippers from them. They are fantastic, super heavy duty hand grippers. So I bought those, and they were nice enough to throw in an extra one, which I can't possibly squeeze. It's like squeezing a brick, but some of you more grip oriented athletes are going to love their products as well. So check them out at serioussteel.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout. And let me see here. Stay Classy Meats. Stay Classy Meats. I love their food, number one. Okay, so their bison is the best I've ever had. Their beef is incredible. Even their chicken, which, is normally pretty much the same wherever you go, is just out of this world. And partner it with the fact that they send it directly to your home in a freezer box. You just can't beat it. It is high quality meat, and it is not expensive. When you look at how much meat you get in these boxes, it's a really, really good deal. And it's a lot better than giving your money to Walmart or Giant Eagle or Food Lion or whatever the hell you're going to. These are small batch farms, Bozeman, Montana. These animals are living healthy, quality lives. They're humanely processed and humanely raised, and it comes together in the company and comes together in the taste of these meats, and it's fantastic. Check them out at stayclassymeats.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout. And if you have any questions about what you should get in your box or whatever, give me a holler. I'm glad to help you out. Cerberus. Cerberus has everything you need for your strength journey, your strength mission. All I see is Cerberus-sponsored athletes all over the internet kicking butt, wearing the Cerberus gear, knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, underbelts. They have T-shirts, wraps, straps, nose torque, tacky. I mean, just everything you could possibly use for any kind of strength sport. It doesn't matter what you're in. Give them a shout first. I'm always preaching about their sandbags. If you're going to buy sandbags for your gym or to throw or whatever, Cerberus has the best ones, I promise you. Check them out at cerberus-strength.us and use the code RefineSavage10 at checkout. Breath Belt. The Breath Belt is popping up everywhere. You see these things I mean, every video I'm seeing now has somebody with a breath belt on. People are using these things in a multitude of different ways and fashions and grooves. And I think it has far surpassed even what Jesse, the owner, thought this thing was going to be used for. I love mine. People at my gym are using them. I'm thinking about putting them away so these sons of bitches buy their own breath belts. You know, I've been putting my breath belt out there and everybody's using them, but give Jesse a holler, man. Get your own. I promise you, this is the best piece of fitness, weightlifting, strength training gear I've seen in the last decade, and it will help you. It's going to improve your lifts. It's going to improve your running. It's going to improve your calisthenics. It's going to improve your kettlebell lifting. It's great for strongman. Like if you're doing Atlas stones or log and you don't want to get that belt in the way and you want a solid belt to help you out, it's the way to go. Check them out at thebreathbelt.com. Use the code SAVAGE20, all caps, SAVAGE20 at checkout. All right, let's talk about Muscle Egg. So, Muscle Egg is our brand new sponsor. It sounds crazy, right? It sounds like a crazy thing. Flavored egg whites, what the fuck? But I promise you, the taste is out of this world. Muscle Egg is pasteurized. It's not raw. It's safe to drink even for pregnant women and great for cooking or using in recipes as well as just drinking. There's like no bullshit in it. It's not watered down. It's just straight egg whites and flavoring. Each serving is equivalent to 10 egg whites, and it's basically straight protein. So all you people out there who are trying to get more protein in your diet, and you're having a hard time doing it, this is a perfect way to get it done. There's no other way around it. If you're drinking protein shakes and you're having gas issues afterwards, that's not normal. And it's because you're taking this highly processed whey protein into your gut and expecting your body to know what the fuck to do with it. Your body's not going to have that problem with Muscle Eggs. I'm telling you, check it out. I've used it for years, way before I had a podcast, way before they were a sponsor. Aaron and I found this product. God, I bet you it was 2011, 2012, and we both love it, and it comes in with a variety of flavors. Check it out. And now we have a referral link. So, what I want you to do, so get your little pen and paper out. I want you to go to muscleegg.com/refinedsavage/ use that link, and we'll be able to track referrals from the podcast. It'll help the show, and if you love the show, it is the least you can do is to go through a referral link. Just give me a holler. And if you were driving in the car, didn't write that down, give me a holler on Instagram. I will get you the referral link. I try to answer all messages on Instagram. It's not pulling crab traps in the Bering Sea. This is not a hard job. So if I can take 2 minutes to answer your message and get you a referral link, that is no skin off my nose, I promise you. So give me a holler. Muscle Egg, it is the best stuff on the planet. It is the best protein out there. You need to check it out. It's going to be awesome. All right. Anytime I get the opportunity to sit down with Doug Chapman, it is a good time. We are of like mind on a lot of issues. Doug is an OG CrossFit coach from back in the day. He was one of the original CrossFit affiliates. He has coached some of the highest level CrossFitters out there and coached so many games athletes, there's too many to mention. So we sat down for an hour or so, had a great conversation, and I think you're going to enjoy it as much as I did. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and we will see you at the end. Doug Chapman, again on the show. Did we do this like a year ago?
I think last time? During the pandemic?
No, I think it was. I think you're right. It was before the pandemic. I came up to the house.
You came in person.
Yeah. Came up to the house back when we can do things in person.
Isn't that weird?
I don't know how people are still holding on to it. You know, holding on to the don't do things, don't get together, don't see each other. It's a very odd situation that people can
just hold on to this and seem to be happy with holding on to it.
People love their fears.
Yeah. It's a virtue. It's a virtue now.
It's virtue signaling.
Yeah. Yeah. At its highest.
Actually, it was just funny. I was just had a conversation with my son. We just finished training one of my oldest clients, Nancy Harbor. She'll be 72 in July.
Love it.
And I bought my son a while ago the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. We started to ask him questions, like talking to him. He goes, I don't have that book because you've never opened it. And so in order for him to get Xbox time, he has to read. So he's got till 12:30. He's got to read for till 12:30, and then he's going to go downstairs for an hour.
I like it.
Break into school. So
yeah, I take it you guys are still on virtual schooling up there?
His district is.
Yeah.
His district. My local district is not. It's
okay.
part virtual, part in person. So
yeah. My son's back full-time school, and Ohio, I guess, has kind of been one of those tweener states, I mean,
semi-fascist, not fascist.
Yeah. Yeah. The governor is very fearful. I think he likes getting on TV every day and giving his updates. Our state legislature voted to not let him enact any more state mandates after June.
Emergency power.
Yeah.
Emergency.
They've kind of stripped him of that emergency power. They said, well, you've got till June with this recent mask mandate, and then, we're going to see how things go. I don't know. How did you handle it? How did you get through? How'd the business do? I mean,
so my like when I shut my gym down, it's actually 5 years ago in May now, right? And
by the way, happy anniversary! 16 years today.
Can you believe that? 16 years.
Amazing.
And we'll talk about that, but let's get through the pandemic because my ADHD will kick in and I'll lose it. So, it was interesting is that I cleaned my garage real well. I mean, at the beginning we didn't know if it was going to be like the Spanish flu, and next thing you know, you're going to have 10% of the world population die. I mean, so once it looked like that wasn't happening, we started to, we've been working out ever since. Never stopped. I mean, people came in. A couple of kids tried to wear masks. I'm like, all right, wear a mask if you feel more comfortable, and don't have any COVID cases in my gym.
Isn't that amazing?
No. It's not amazing.
Yeah. Not amazing at all, right? It's what we've been training people for years. My
son had it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Okay. And so I'm getting ready for the high school state meet for wrestling. Okay.
Oh yeah. So, right. Yeah.
So Hunter comes over, drops on me, like, hey Daddy, how are you doing? Yeah, he goes, my throat's sore. I'm like, get out. Please, call your mother. And, because I got all these COVID tests, right? Because we have to test all of our kids before the wrestling matches, this is bizarre. I was going to ask you about this, so let me forget it. What they're doing in Ohio, okay? Because before now, it's like Michigan's got these huge amounts of COVID cases, and man, I'm like, are Michigan's that unhealthy? Because I mean, if you're getting this stuff and you're getting hospitalized and dying from it, you're probably an unhealthy person.
Yeah. Yep.
So. But now the governor had just mandated that 100% of all spring sports get tested. So we got these swabs up. If you want to, I'll show you one of them. It's pretty cool. Do your boogers this way. Do your boogers this way. 6 drops in the thing. Put it in there. 2 lines is pregnant, which is bad. 1 line is good. So, and so we test all the kids right before the matches and for all the stuff. But they're getting all the. I think we're testing probably more people than any place else.
Sure.
And like my stud wrestler, right? My stud wrestler just got it today, or actually 2 days ago, and he's supposed to get an elbow surgery. He broke the end of his humerus off, or no, it's actually I forgot which bone it was, but one of them where the tricep attaches, and So he's got to get screwed back on, right? And he can't go in because he positive for COVID, so he can't get surgery. And the doctor's about ready to say, "Screw it, let's do it anyway." Because I mean, here's this 17-year-old kid. He is at the height of physical perfection, right?
Yep.
And like, maybe the nurse who's got diabetes and gout and other stuff may die if she's near him. But I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy. I mean, what are we going to do? Like next year, are we going to be getting vaccinations for the flu, and you have to show your vaccination for that too? Or, is the common cold going to be an issue? Or, where does it stop?
Stop and think through this in terms of if we had a large death toll in terms of like the way like Contagion. Remember that movie?
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hoffman, and like, dude, you're gonna bleed all over the place. You're gonna die, right?
Yeah.
Shit's gonna happen. They're gonna drop the fuel air bomb on you. So that's not the case. And if you look at the number of, I look at this stuff cursorily. If you look at the number of flu cases, almost no flu cases. Whoa.
Yeah.
But we have, something's going on, right?
Yeah.
But now, let's say that they require you to be vaccinated and show vaccination. Isn't that a violation of HIPAA?
So that's what you would obviously think it would be a violation, right? It's a violation to, if you go into Target and say, I have a medical condition, I can't wear my mask, they can't ask you there either. But
not supposed to, but they give you some dirty looks.
Right. But it seems like all this shit's been suspended because there's a case of
safety
sniffles out there, that people.
Well, I mean, hey, buddy, I'm on my Zoom call, buddy. Oh, okay. You can go now.
It's video games.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Go play some video games.
Go play some video games.
I'm his spawn, so.
Hey, if you're gonna do it, you better win.
Yeah, I
Go!
will.
You're gonna make
the bronze out of a barn.
You think he's gonna beat me at Fortnite? I'm like, dude, no chance, bro. No chance.
Yeah, drags you into that one.
I would gaming before you were born, man. So, but go back to the safety thing. It's that, is it a potentially bad thing? My thing is I go back to the who's responsible for your health.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the individual is. So if you've done such a shitty job of taking care of yourself that a flu or a cold or a COVID, SARS-2, is going to kill you, you fucked up for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because people do lose loved ones, and for lack of empathy, that's something that is. But I have people come here all the time. Like one of my ladies, she turned 40 last fall. She told me this yesterday, and last fall she bought a pair of jeans at Kohl's, right? And cool jeans, flared bell bottoms, like 1970s, 80-ish, 70s-ish, right? And she bought them. She couldn't fit into them. So on Saturday, her and her husband went out. They dressed up to go out, and both those pants fit.
Not bad, right?
And the thing is that people train for aesthetic reasons all the time, but
yes.
Because we want to look like the alpha. Like, no, you look more like an alpha than I do. I'm not old and chubby now, but there's the real training. That's what I love about CrossFit is the message of being healthy.
Yeah, and I've been putting it on a lot of my Instagram posts. Just the phrase, "You are 100% responsible for your own health." That is whether you want to wear a mask or don't want to wear a mask, or if you want to do burpees or you don't want to do burpees, or if you're going to eat a chocolate cake or a steak, that's totally up to you. And that's something that I think is lost, but I think you're 100% right. What we recently during the pandemic, we moved gyms, and I've kind of been retooling my thoughts on training. And being 47 now, I'm not a pro Highland Games athlete. I'm not looking for how far can I throw a shot put, that kind of thing. So I started to really think about what I needed, what my people needed. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We've got this health issue going on, and we came up with the line for the gym, and it's health, strength, form, meaning your health is the most important thing. Being a strong individual, whether that's being able to deadlift your body weight or do gymnastics or be able to run a mile without stopping. And those two things together, proper health, proper nutrition, proper supplementation, getting stronger, getting more athletic, that leads to form being, oh yeah, I look hot now. So that's where everyone wants to get to, is the form part of it. But the other two things are the important part. We'll get you good looking, but let's get you healthy and strong first.
Yeah. The 71-year-old that was here today, she at one point, I had her deadlifting 200 pounds. Okay. And since then, she's had a couple of issues where I've trained her for 15 years. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, obviously she's aging, longtime tennis player, bad knees, flexibility issues. You name it. So she had missed a bunch of stuff because of the pandemic. We haven't been lifting as heavy as we should have been. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so she PR'd her deadlift. We're on the way back up to 200 pounds. She's at 145 again. So her strength profile has gone from maxing at one point, and I think she was in her late 50s when we hit that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, over time, even with great training, you're probably going to end up having your poundages go down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the idea of going back chasing after that strength, because I think one of the things I think of for the older people is that they need to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, you look at statistics on grip strength.
Yes.
Grip strength goes away, you got one foot in the grave.
Yeah.
You want to put the other foot in the grave, you have a short gait.
Yeah.
Those two things are correlative. They're not, predictive, but people, you don't see you're closer to the grave if you can't hold on to something where you don't have a strong grip.
Sure.
And you have a short stride. You guess what? You're not in the best of positions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you train for those things? I don't know. I think there should be a secondary consequence to your actions, but sometimes.
Yeah. I got my mother, who's 72. I bought her, first I started with a 15-pound kettlebell. Now she's up to 25-pound kettlebell. I have it next to her chair, and I tell her, hey, every time you get up to take a piss, when you come back, do 10 kettlebell swings, all day long. She's like, all day? I'm like, yeah. And she's doing it, God love her. She's swinging that kettlebell.
Such a Pavel thing right there, man. You, whenever you get out of the chair, you swing bell.
Swing the bell. Yeah. Pavel has some good stuff every once in a while. I like it.
Well, it's good fundamental foundational training.
Yep.
The kettlebell is as effective today as it was 30 years ago.
Yep.
Or 100 years ago, for that matter. There's some new twists. I'm watching some of these kids on Instagram that do these cross body multi things, and I'm like, well, that's really cool. I saw one with Marcus, the soccer player that was in the CrossFit Games, Marcus Philly. Okay. So I watch his channel because he's usually come up with some cool, innovative stuff. He's doing a cross body clean, kettlebell clean with a hand switch.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, took me a second. I'm watching. I'm like, okay. So I figured it out, right? And add a little coordination into that power curve, right? I think it's a good thing. Now I think about now I got this cool move, right? Who am I going to teach this to? Me. Right. Because my clients aren't necessarily like, they're not they're training for health. I mean, there's a fine line because we've got like I train for an hour, right? Yeah. Pressure comes in. So, what's the most effective use of the time? Big 6 lifts, whatever. a little bit of cardio, some sort of high energy output, short workout, and send them on their way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we do the most technical thing I think we do with our people is I actually have them do like a one-arm swing and then cover their hand and switch hands in between. It makes them feel like circus performers, but everybody can do it. It's super easy. But I think you're right. I think just switch hands.
So
But
I do that one. I also do the rotational change where you kind of you shoot the guy in front of you, change hands. Shoot the guy behind you, change hands. That one.
Yeah.
I do, and then part of it is I want them to start to get that humeral head to rotate and get.
That makes
a lot
sense.
of people have pretty shitty shoulders, and if for no fault of their own, they've been sitting in front of a computer their whole life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's I love the kettlebell stuff. My gym is and I know yours is too because I've seen it firsthand. Is just stacked with them. I've got kettlebells all over the place, and kind of get into the steel maces now too, which are fun.
Those things like crazy.
Yeah.
You got to follow my my barber. He's the most creative, eccentric person. His name's John Miller, but he thinks called the House of Clubs, and he's just gotten into swinging maces and clubs and doing all kinds of stuff. He's the one that's kind of got me into doing maces.
He's not a large, tall black guy, is he?
Yeah, got big hair.
I follow him already. Yeah.
Yeah. John's my barber. He comes over and works out and does stuff.
Oh shit.
Lucky is he comes over and he cuts my hair too. I need it. I set myself on fire yesterday. So cutting trees down in my backyard. I got these cool silky saws, so I'm like, I want to cut everything down now.
Yeah.
Cutting. So I've got all this stuff set up in the fire pit. I'm out of lighter fluid, so Doug goes old school and gets some gasoline. Lost all the hair on my arm. And I messaged John afterwards. I'm like, because I could tell I burned my hair. I'm like, dude, I need a haircut. And I looked at it. It's not that bad. It's just a little frizzy. And usually he'll come out and he'll show up with a new set of clubs every time because he's gone on this Indian club path. It's really freaking cool.
Yeah, that's funny that I follow a guy by the name of Shane Rickman, who's a buddy of mine up in Detroit, follows him. So he got me following him. But it's funny. I had a barbecue grill out here one time and had too many burners on. You're supposed to turn the one burner on and then click the button. And I didn't realize I had two burners on. And I clicked the button. Same thing. Lost my eyelashes. Melted the side of the house. And wife comes home just looking at me like, you idiot.
My son, my son's gotten he's gotten like one or two. He hasn't even had stitches. I think he got glued. Okay.
Yeah.
My son has never climbed a tree. I'm trying to get him to. He's finally getting into working out. I got him a video of him doing some stuff with these two stud soccer girls, right? They come over, and then one of the other kids is going in the Navy. Had them all work out last night. He's like, I really like that. I'm like, inside, I'm just like, oh, no, that's really good, Hunter. Thank you. And inside, I'm going, whoa, yes.
I think he's what, like a year? He's what, a freshman?
He's a freshman this year. He hasn't seen the inside of his school.
Wow.
So his district, right, is in Ann Arbor, and they're pretty liberal.
No, you don't say. College town, Michigan.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. And they were supposed to open, not going to open. Push back a week, and they're talking about not going back to school next year. So, and Hunter's has the potential to be a college level tennis player.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't do anything of that. Like, can't show him wrestling. Doesn't like wrestling. Doesn't like football. Doesn't like rugby. I'm like, but he likes tennis, so I'm gonna run with it. I'm gonna support him.
There's a lot more money in professional tennis than there is in amateur wrestling. That's for sure.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's always a WWE, brother.
Right. You get the trunks and everything.
But his coach is this guy named Brick, like Mr. Brick, Coach Brick, and he'd been an Ann Arbor Pioneer forever, and he has produced state champions, national champions. People have gone on, right? So he's got the best freaking coach in the state, one of the best coaches in the state.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about having to come over here to go in-person school because he's not doing well in school because he's just, he's like his dad. He's just, hey, whoa, squirrel. So
yeah, I would have been the same way. There's no way I could have done that.
So my old roommate, my old roommate was the former head wrestling coach. He stopped being the head wrestling coach in my school. So I took it over. He actually tricked me into it. He's been tricking me since like 1986. Okay. I still fall for it.
Right.
But he is going to be he's trying to pad his retirement right now. Yeah. So he's getting all this, the best 5 years of your earnings make your thing. So I'm giving him back the head coaching job next year. And then I'm going to get, he's taking over the tennis team. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to let my son play for Derek, because Derek doesn't know shit about tennis. And it just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, what, got to leave him at Pioneer because he's going to his private lessons and, things. I mean, he's good,
Yeah.
And man, it is absolutely, crazy that my son's a freshman, has not been in the school physically.
Yeah. Yeah. My son's a sophomore. He got through the first half of his freshman year and got through an indoor track season, and then literally right after the indoor state championships, they just shut everything down. So we ended up having a kind of a mock season just so he would have a baseline, so we would go out, okay, here's your meets. Next Friday, you have your first meet, we're going out, and we'd have him throw shot disc hammer, and we'd have marks. So that way, when he came back this year, he had PRs to beat. He knew what he had to do, what a crazy time, man. And these kids, I think that especially with the rate of infection and what it really does to these kids, it's a tragedy what we've done to them. I understand if you're an 80-year-old woman, stay at home, but
let me time out here. When you say we,
not us at all.
Okay. We as the elected officials that that are there. What it is you're talking about a real ethical issue that is, am I my brother's keeper?
Mm-hmm.
And truly, as I didn't hit him with a rock or anything, but bottom line is, if I'm sick, now I'm mandated to stay home. I'm mandated to do these things, right? What happened to the assumption of risk?
Right.
If you're going to be a free person, a free individual, should you be beholden to your neighbor? At what point do they decide that your black t-shirt you can't wear anymore because we don't approve of it, so you must wear a white t-shirt, or your, whatever it might be, or we think you're going to be better off not as a trainer but as a factory worker. There's things, because I think it's good for your neighbor that you do this stuff, and we've gone down a path that there really isn't an end to that slippery slope, and I tend to be pretty, I want to say more libertarian than anything else.
Oh, I am too as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. I don't want to tell you what to do, but please don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you have a solid reason for what you're doing that you want us to do, present your solid reason, and I will use my reason to decide whether it makes sense for me or not.
Well, it's a good point. You talked about in the very beginning how we didn't know what was going on. So my wife is a nurse for the VA. We talked about it, and I begrudgingly shut the gym down for that 14-day flatten the curve. Let's all do this together. So, I shut it down on my own volition. I'm going to do this because who knows what this is. And my number one job is to keep people healthy. And then 2.5 months into the 14 days of the flatten the curve, you start to see the writing on the wall that, they're not going to let us reopen. They're not letting me open my business. But wait, the airlines can fly and Target's open and McDonald's, the line is around the block. So it was before 2.5 months, but my feelers went up and it became this, you don't understand. You are losing rights as we speak right now that you're never, ever, ever going to get back because they'll never relinquish that control once they have it. And my poor wife is looking at me like, Jesus Christ, just shut the fuck up, and she's coming home to a libertarian rant every night that, they're this is not going to stop. I had a lady from the local newspaper call me, wanted to interview me for the newspaper about having the gyms closed down. And I immediately started, throwing out John Locke quotes and H.L. Mencken quotes. And it never made the newspaper,
Oh my God, that's so true.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend's the same way. She's a counselor. She had been an at-risk counselor for the high school. And now she's a trainer, and that she just does online counseling now, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
But, I'll get spun up and she'll go, how do you know that? Well, wait and see what's going to happen. And like, what's funny is that, the things that are happening right now are easily predicted. Like I just saw yesterday that they're coming up with a bill to pack the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
They being the Democratic left and President Biden. And the thing is that leads you down a slope is why would they want to do that? What court cases are going to go in front of the court to decide that, you would want to have left-leaning. I'm assuming they're not going to find some constitutionalist lawyer.
Right. No.
Wait, we're going to trick everybody and predict some libertarian lawyers on there and make it out.
I'm sure that's what they're looking to pack them with for sure.
But that's an interesting point is that they, how do you get control? You get one branch of government and then you keep refining the other places until you have control. But control to what end? What's the ultimate? What is the goal? Where's the finish line? Right. And all of us super paranoid, get off my lawn people are, where's the finish line? They're going to chip us in our teeth. And who knows what happens. Remember that from, what was that from? Arnold Schwarzenegger on Mars.
Total Recall.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
The other one was they
pulled it out of his nose. Remember, he pulled it out of his nose.
I was thinking of 13 Monkeys.
Oh God, I haven't seen that one in years. Yeah.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's where is and then the really question is what is the balance between management of the state and individual liberties?
Mm-hmm.
And we're struggling with that, right?
Yeah.
And the pandemic has been a gigantic experiment, right? So, who elected Dr. Fauci to say anything?
Right. Yeah.
He's the head of the CDC. Seems cool. They see the head of the CDC, like all the movies, like 6 hours after the pandemic hits, they got it figured out. They're going to do a vaccine and all kinds of stuff. They found the exact monkey that has a problem.
Yeah.
They're going to track it from so-and-so to such and such a place. I really think those movies are a lot of fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we know, right? That government bodies don't work that well.
You're much more optimistic than I am.
You think maybe they work so well that they screw us?
I don't think, it's funny is I don't think that there's anything that's like people would say you're doing something intentionally wrong or evil.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that's it. I think what it is like people want to have power, whether they know it or not, especially if they come from a place where they're unempowered.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would they keep doing that? I don't know. That's a whole day. That's I might actually drink again. That might be a thing.
I lost all respect for Fauci in the first couple months of this when he said that masks didn't work. And then he came out later and said, well, I was lying because we needed all those for the healthcare people. And it was just such a blatant, I was lying. And I just went, I think, and okay, so me and you, maybe this would have worked. It might not have worked for the rest of the public, but I would much rather of we need these masks for healthcare professionals, wear a bandana or something, but or just stop sale to anyone who's not a medical professional, but don't lie to me and tell me that it doesn't work and then come out later and say, oh, it does work. I was lying. So are you lying now? Or are you lying then? When are you lying? He did the same thing with herd immunity. Oh, we need to get the vaccine out so we can get to 40% to get herd immunity. And now it's like, what, 80% they want?
90. Yeah.
Insane.
That's the thing, it's funny is that there's a lot of, look at the behaviors are criticized and the behaviors are not. I mean, we've got another situation where we have an unfortunate incident where a fellow lost his life in Minneapolis.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now they're burning Minneapolis again. They being whoever those people are.
Yeah.
Are they wearing masks as they're doing it?
Right.
Are they within a certain space? What are they doing? I mean, is it a, where's the line drawn? Is peaceful looting okay?
Peaceful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, the people get angry about all kinds of stuff, and they need new TVs.
Yeah, right.
I actually got pissed. I was chasing this flyer on. I went to go swat it on the TV downstairs. Hunter uses for his game. Cracked the freaking screen, and it's like a pretty good sized TV. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
We'll protest something and get a new TV, bro.
Yeah, we need something to protest, but it's amazing to me, and I was not a supporter. Actually, anyone in the race. I didn't even like the Libertarian candidate, let alone Trump or Biden. But it was amazing to me how the coverage of the Capitol building, of them entering the Capitol building, was to the riots, because the riots were all, people were getting shot, people were getting murdered, they were taking over cities, they were burning things down. That was mostly peaceful. Mm-hmm. The only one who got hurt or killed in the Capitol building was officer on protester. They killed that woman, So yeah. I mean, but that was a violent overthrow of the government attempt,
I'm gonna be honest. It's like the whole Capitol insurrection protest, whatever it was. Okay, you're going to the Capitol building. What I understand happened. One of my friends works in DC. He's an agent. Okay, so the guy that shot the gal is allegedly a Secret Service agent.
Okay.
And this is kind of some back channel stuff I got to understand. It seems reasonable. Okay. And they had evacuated the vice president to that wing. And so here's the deal. I mean, it's not your local law enforcement, your threshold of acceleration. It's this person's getting into a place where the vice president of the United States is, you're getting shot in the face.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay. Was it a good shot? Those police that were coming up behind her.
Yeah.
They're about to shit their pants.
Yeah.
Because you had what they're like, what the heck? Because I mean, that whole thing could have de-escalated right there when those officers had come up. But whatever reason that agent had made a decision to make that shot, he made that shot. Guess what? Don't break into where the president or vice president.
My whole problem with the whole Capitol storming was not the fact that they stormed the Capitol. My problem with it was it was for such a stupid fucking reason. You get 40% of your income stolen today. This is April 15th. They're going to steal 40% of your income every fucking year. Mm-hmm. And you care because Donald Trump isn't in office anymore? You should be caring that they're stealing all your goddamn money. That's the problem.
Nobody cared in Rome because they were prosperous.
Yeah.
And the breakdown of infrastructure you know, the vulnerability of it all, right? You know, it's funny is that, you know, look at our military, what we're prioritizing now versus what our potential enemies are prioritizing.
Right. Yeah.
We're vulnerable. You know,
Yeah.
we've got some great widgets, but you know, if you look at China and they're totally their end, right? What's their number of ships, number of airplanes, number of, you know, tanks, you know, versus our number. Now add in what Russia has. Oh boy, big
Yeah.
problems. You know, potentially big problems. And the thing is it's such a disparity that I don't think that we would stand up for ourselves. You know, we would have to compromise. And we do not. Honestly, it's like we don't need to have more trillions of dollars in debt as a country to finance a war. You know, we've been financing a war for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I would love to see nothing more than I would love to see sometime in my lifetime when we're not at war or shooting at somebody.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
That's never happened.
There's too much money to be made in it.
That's true. That's true. But you think about the advancements we had in World War II, right?
Yeah.
World War I. I mean, think about the whole idea of combined arms. You know,
Yeah.
and
Right.
you really look at what happened in World War II. You know, heck, I mean, all of the terrible things that happened, but I mean, how much progress was leapfrog because you know that was that endeavor. How much, you know, like think about just drone technology. You know, you can track somebody all over the place now.
Yeah.
Facial recognition, who knows what, right? You know, and we haven't even seen the end results of the necessary money that was spent in research and development to fight that war. You know, those end up being places that make an economic good after the war, right? For at least for the guys that win.
Right.
Yeah. I think Japan did pretty well though.
Yeah, they bounced back.
My God, yeah, they're very good people. They work their asses off.
Yeah. Well, and I think what we've dealt with is 20 years of fighting an insurrection, which, you know, could be brought back on this soil at any time. You know, you could be fighting an insurrection right here.
Well, we already are.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that they just caught crossing the border, the Islamist guys.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them. They're just getting across the border. They actually found them, which is good. How many didn't they find?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, obviously, we've stemmed the flow of drugs going across the border, right?
Yeah. It's almost non-existent now.
I haven't even heard anything about them. You
Right.
know? There's no drugs. There's no drugs in Mexico coming across.
No. Yeah.
As long as there's somebody who wants to buy something, somebody will produce it.
Well, and that goes back to, you know, that libertarian philosophy is, you know, the war on drugs and all this stuff. It's all, anytime you put war on in front of a word, you might as well just set it up for failure, you know?
Yeah. Bohica.
The war on poverty, the war on drugs, the war on terror, you know, I mean, just.
We've been in a war on poverty since 1776 and we've won.
Yeah,
now
right.
The other way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the people who are the poorest in the United States still live far better than people in other countries.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, the argument that every person has to have the same outcome doesn't make sense. Economic opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, I was watching a show recently. Just talking about this Professor Gal, I have to remember his name, but he was talking about the idea of teaching economics. It's truly supply and demand economics. Say, go create something that people want to buy.
Yeah.
Or at least learn that stuff. And you can wipe out poverty by allowing people to succeed.
Yeah. It's a novel concept, but I think so many people are afraid of attempting to succeed that they don't even try, and they would just rather be given to them, you know, that.
Yeah. So my athletic trainer, her name's her Ashley. She's really cool. And she's from, you know, she goes to, because like the school I'm a part of has one of the best football programs in the state. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got this great football team. We got a great basketball team. we got a decent wrestling team. I got 4 kids qualified, and in Ohio, that's not a big deal because Ohio like lives wrestling and football.
Well, depending on what school. We don't.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty good to me here.
Yeah, but and we're talking about it. But she's an athletic. She's an ATC, so she got if she were being hired in to U of M, she's at med sport or somewhere. And med sport won't pay her what she's worth. But if she were a new hire, they would pay her more. I shit you not. Okay.
Wow.
And what they do there is like, but what about the benefits? Right. So they're handcuffing her. Right. She's saying, you're going to go anywhere else.
Right.
And so we go to Taco Tuesday and we have our little social group and we talk her shit, man. My assistant coach and good friend of mine. And my other friend comes down. He was a former Michigan wrestler. And, we all get together and we hang out. Like Justin gets a workout and then we go over and get our tacos. And I said to her, she said, like, have you looked around? Is your resume current? The best way to get a job, if you're good at what your job is, and she is, the best way to get a raise is get your resume out there and get some other opportunities.
Sure.
Let your boss know, because it's much more expensive to train a new person than it is to increase somebody's pay.
Yeah, leverage them a little bit.
But you have to have the balls to ask for it, what you're worth. Okay. You have to ask for what you're worth. And so she's telling me a story. So I was over to the airport because we're kind of situated near Metropolitan Airport. And they have some athletic trainers over there doing something. I'm like, they make a lot more money. I'm like, cool. Did you send them your resume? Got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, go fix your resume. Go get a job offer and see what Michigan will keep you. If Michigan will keep you.
Not going to knock on your door.
Job. And, if you're working at the airport, you probably are going to get pretty good benefits too. Right?
Yeah.
And but the confidence to go, screw it, I'm going to try. How many people live miserable lives working in a job that they don't care about, they don't like? It pays a bill, allows you to have a couple of creature comforts, but it's not self-fulfilling.
Yeah. I think the majority of the people live like that. I did that job for 19 years, that I hated, but the benefits were good and it was just enough money to keep me hanging on,
The new slavery is wage slavery.
Yeah. Wage slavery and debt, right?
That is true, my friend.
Yeah.
True.
But yes, and it took me talking to my wife, who was then my girlfriend, and saying, hey, you're okay at this training thing. You probably could make more money doing that and be just fine. And it was like, oh, someone has a little bit of confidence in me. I think I can try this, Yep. So it worked out well.
Not guaranteed a paycheck.
Right. Which I kind of dig that. I don't necessarily mind that. It's
hustle, right?
Makes you work.
Makes you hustle.
Yep.
The thing is that, you don't have, your boss is your customer.
Yeah.
And you provide an excellent service. Your customer brings you more customers.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back, I was going to write a long post about today. Actually, it was April 1st was my 16th,
Oh, yeah.
CrossFit, right? But I forgot to pay my thing. So I got a nasty gram, said, hey, if you don't pay this by the end of the month, you're out.
Even after 16 years, they're busting your balls.
But they should. It's a business.
Yeah, it's a business, right? Yeah, 100%.
I mean, they didn't say it like that. I thought, I better get in here. Here's my PayPal. And as I took it, I was thinking about it. In the last 16 years, the evolution that we've been a part of. Mm-hmm. I remember when we were going out to Santa Cruz and they finally had a road trip seminar, right? And I think they came to my place as one of the original first road trip seminars. And we ran groups and we did all this stuff. They hadn't even figured out the training thing. I was a level something trainer because I'd gone to, every time you went to a seminar, it was a certification then, right? You went to a certification.
Yeah.
And they gave you another level. So I'm like, level 17, right? Whatever it might be at the time.
Like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, really. Do I get a power roll of that? And they hadn't figured out, they hadn't really figured out the curriculum. Greg was doing a lot of presenting. In fact, actually, that was one of the first ones, and Greg did all the talking.
Yeah.
And nobody presents like he does, and he's witty and on point. And Nicole Carroll's the whole time trying to keep him from rambling off, because we're rambling on and off, right, and doing this stuff and whatever. It's similar. And now to see it where it's gone very corporate, right? Since they forcing a Greg out. We've gone to a much more touchy-feely CrossFit, mm-hmm, which I don't understand, because like all this inclusivity, my place is always inclusive.
Right.
Because if you believe in the sanctity in the individual, right, the sovereignty of the individual, you treat everybody as an individual. You don't discriminate. Right. I don't care what you do with your life. That's on you. And now, and if somebody felt, like they were excluded, that's wrong. But were they really that way, or was that the way they felt?
Yeah.
And we'll see where this goes. I kind of thought about it, because am I going to, if you force it on somebody, if you force somebody to accept somebody for whatever reasons, right? Or you exclude somebody for whatever your reasons, you're making a mistake.
Right.
Both of those are a mistake.
Yeah.
Saying that anybody who wants to show up and work hard can come.
It's pretty simple.
I'm excluding the people who don't want to work hard.
That's true.
Do they feel bad? I have everything from some very, very large people to little, high school athletes and pre-high school athletes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I make sure that everybody feels valued, welcomed, and respected. Yeah. At every turn. Now, and I can see how I've never talked to the new CEO, Eric Rosa, but I kind of like some of the things he's doing. But it's making the website a little bit better. We've got more communications. But then again, I was one of the OGs, so I could call Greg whenever I wanted to, so it wasn't a problem. I don't know, but I'm kind of curious where CrossFit's going to go as a corporation. And then the other side of it is my loyalty because of the methodology.
Yeah.
I think I told you the last time we talked is that one day I went out I felt this calling to go out to Santa Cruz and go have this experience. I'm going to pay.
Oh, right. When you first got into it. Yeah.
And I remember sitting there, because I believed all these things that Greg was saying, mm-hmm, but I couldn't articulate it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't have the brain mass that Greg does. It's just, sorry, I'm good at other things. So, and so when Greg articulated all the stuff I already believed on and fitness and training, and really took some really cool pushes in other directions, I was like, okay, this is where I belong, and it kind of like, how many people turned on their teacher because he made probably a bad tweet?
Yeah.
And it wasn't insensitive. Some people could have taken it that way. Was it his personality and sarcasm? Yeah. But when I saw all the people go that I can't be a part of this, and then all of a sudden they start to pull all this stuff out of the closet, that's wrong. You see that lion, right? And he got wounded. He fell off the cliff, broke his leg a little bit, and now he's limping. And then everybody attacks him. And I really questioned whether I was going to stay with CrossFit because of that.
Right.
It was a loyalty thing. And I talked to Greg after that, and a couple of times. And decided I was going to stay. Here I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then everyone had to make that choice, right? When it happened, when the shit hit the fan, everyone had to make that choice. I had a little bit. So I was always a fan of the methodology, and I remember before CrossFit came into, well, before I understood what CrossFit was, I was always saying, I'm personal training these people, and I've got them doing cleans and squats and box jumps and all this shit. Why doesn't everyone train people like this? Why are they on, machines or doing bands? And then I figured out years later that, I'm doing CrossFit. I just had no idea that that's what it was. So I've always been in love with that methodology. I think the good and the bad of it was whether you like functional fitness or CrossFit or whatever, it's the best thing that's happened to the fitness world in my lifetime. It's gotten more people off the couch. It's gotten more people into gyms that aren't global gyms. They're these individual pirate ships that are just run by guys and women who are just free thinkers and going to do their own thing, yeah, and it spurned that whole, it spawned that whole movement and everything. Greg was an outspoken guy. I did not know him at all. I know that a lot of the women, were posting the black screens and all this shit when it happened. And, I put up a post that said, hey, if you're putting up a black screen, then you better do something about it, better give back a check from the CrossFit Games. You better drop your affiliation. You don't just put up a black screen and say, I'm offended and I'm appalled, and then don't do anything about it. And if you're really not that offended and appalled, don't put up the black screen. You can't have it both ways. You can't be this, like we talked about earlier, this virtue signaler and then still take the man's money. It's not whether you liked Glassman or not. And then, like I said, I never knew him, but it was a little hypocritical. So
yeah, there is a lot of that goes around nowadays.
Yeah.
It's funny that I don't want to sound like I don't, Greg's tweet set a shitstorm that was, end up in the losing of his baby. But at the same time, as the guys that are founders of corporations and founders of movements and ideas aren't necessarily the right guys to manage them always.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Sooner or later, there had to be a transition. Okay. Mm-hmm. When Greg and Lauren got divorced and her part of the company got, however that was dealt out. I mean, I don't remember. And, those were all situations that, when you own your business, you make your decisions on it, and your people can decide whether they want to be customers or not. Now, when you have a huge movement, if coming across as a insensitive ass because, there was a video of a cop with an elbow or with a knee on somebody's, looked like it was on his neck. And have you watched a trial at all?
No, I don't really do TV.
Well, I do YouTube, and
that's what I do too. Yep.
Is the presentations that are going on, and the arguments are being made. I mean, my mother was an attorney. Like all my friends, a lot of my friends are attorneys. One of my friends is I train his son, and he's a very high level criminal defense attorney. And it's interesting because the threshold for conviction, right, is very, very high. Mm-hmm. Beyond a reasonable doubt. And you interject drugs and an autopsy of somebody's heart who already looks like a canned ham. The question is that are these guys getting fair trials?
Right.
And then the thing is our justice system going to be upheld based on reason or emotion?
Yeah.
emotion, they would have skinned him, drawn and quartered that guy a long time ago.
Yeah.
But every person needs to have, if a due process, if you push due process away, then we're going to be Soviet era Russia.
Yeah.
Once we lose that freedom, then we're going to be a unfree country, and less than we already are. We've already compromised a ton, but
yeah.
And I'm watching present, and then and some of the things that happened, and some of the interpretations. I haven't watched the whole thing, but both sides have had their expert witnesses and various things. Now the guys are sitting in the jury. I wonder what they're going through.
Right.
Because imagine if you're in Minneapolis, right? And 40 blocks or whatever it was burned to the ground and just destroyed, and all this stuff's going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the back of your mind, are you thinking, if I see this thing and there's a reasonable doubt, I can't vote to acquit this guy because my neighborhood's going to burn down.
Yep. And it will. It's going to burn.
And even on the lesser included things, that's a man. I mean, that's a crazy thing. And I saw this thing that there's probably going to be a hung jury, because it takes one. It has to be unanimous to convict, or unanimous. I believe it's also unanimous to acquit. Both ways, I'm pretty sure. And if that being that case is hung jury, do over.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I let them find it. One way or the other, make a decision. I'm done with this stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's interesting just to hear the chat that's on the social media side, where people don't care. There's some circumstances about everything. It's like you go to one of my friend's sons is a police officer, right? You saw the guy that got just shot recently?
Yes. Yeah.
Terrible. Absolutely horrendous. So Andrew is an FTO. So the lady he's training approaches a car. Car's got the music super loud, whatever. It was a complaint call. Car's parked in the parking lot. She approaches it. Guy that was in the car was passed out around drugs or something. And she knocks on the window, approaches the car poorly, knocks on there, flashes a gun. You can see the video, and it looks like this thing looks like it's a cannon, right? Because it points directly at the police officer, but she was so rattled, she just backed off, ran away, and gone, gun, gun, gun. Nobody shot the kid, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's a guy that's in a rougher part of town, got startled, thought maybe somebody was trying to rob him, break his car. Who knows what he was thinking? I'm making excuses for this guy, but shows a gun at the police officer. By virtue of her incompetence,
right,
that guy's still alive.
Yeah.
Because that was at the threshold of shooting him.
Yeah.
And it was a very difficult situation. This lady in Minnesota, geez, oh Pete's, if you can't tell the difference between your pistol and your taser, you shouldn't be doing that job, man.
No.
And obviously she's not anymore, and
well, it all comes back to when I saw the video the first time of the guy with the cop with the knee on his neck. And I'm sure you thought the same thing, was, oh, here's a shitty human who has zero grappling skills.
Yeah, it's more or less. No, I didn't actually. I thought, oh shit. I mean, it looked absolutely horrendous. But you look at the other angles, and rather than the clip, what I don't understand. Wait a minute, we've gone down a rabbit hole here on this, by the way.
Yeah, right.
But is I love our police chief here in Detroit. Okay, there was the kid goes to shoot, lift a gun towards a police officer. This is just after Floyd, right? George Floyd got killed, and the other cop smokes this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of there was a clip that was released on social media that made it look like it was an unjustified shooting. What our police chief in Detroit did, he released all of the body cam stuff my question is why Minneapolis didn't release all of the stuff, the drugs, the whole situation beforehand, and maybe de-escalated the whole situation nationally.
Yeah.
And that might be a more profound question.
Well, it appears to be more incompetence. And we have it at every level from 2020 for me was them pulling the veil off of government and all aspects of it and showing the incompetence at every level. I didn't know who my governor was because who cares about your governor? They never really bother you that much. And
mine doesn't fix roads yet.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, here's a governor, and now he's controlling my life through these state mandates. And oh, this does make a difference. And we have an idiot here. And like I said, he's nowhere near as bad as Cuomo or the guy out in California, but still, there's plenty of morons, and it drifts all the way back down to the city councils and police departments too, if they're being run by goofs, and it drifts all the way up to the presidency. And it's just at every level, we have incompetent people who've kissed enough ass over the years who are now running the country.
Give people the benefit of the doubt, right? It's like, here's the deal. After the fact, we have more perfect information. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At every snapshot of leadership, right? So you have, as a leader, whatever level that you're in, you have to make the call, the snapshot at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, like, you think about the president of the United States, right? Think about the Bay of Pigs. You think about the WMD, right?
Yep.
The CIA tells George that we have weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Do it. Turns out maybe there wasn't, or maybe there was and they get moved. Who knows, right? Maybe you can talk about all stuff. And here we have our governors, right? I'm not sure where governors really fit in terms of those things, but so what do we have to do? What is the protocol? What is there a protocol per state?
Right.
It's up to each state, right, to decide.
Yeah.
So this governor, which I don't think has access to information the way the federal government does, has to make a call. Okay. And in retrospect, you think about Cuomo or Governor Whitmer, who put sick people in our nursing homes.
Yeah.
But why that happened, right? Somebody thought it may be a good idea because they can give more care. I mean, this is the other side. They would say the other side of it would be maybe they have all these permanent caregivers, who are already dealing with people who are sick and possibly dying anyway. Versus, you've had that whole ship that went up to New York, right? They moved that whole ship up there. Yeah. And we had a whole area here in Detroit that was empty beds, right? Never got used. And I think there's a communication issues, and your after action report is going to be like, okay, this is what we thought was going to happen. This is what happened, and how do we change it? And we've never been here before with the levels of technology, communication, all that stuff, and they're thinking that they're doing the right thing by saying, okay, the little guy is incompetent to decide what's best in his life.
Yeah.
By telling people what to do. Is it some malevolent, scheme or whatever, or is it just the personality of the people in there? We're brainwashed by movies,
mm-hmm.
right? What was the Olympus Has Fallen, that whole series, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what? Morgan Freeman should run for president, by the way. He makes the best
president. Why not?
I don't know. I mean, he does a great job, but they're so calm. They have such good information. They're not, at this kind of like 50-50 decision point, like we're always in. Reality is this, like, oh shit, oh boy. If you swerved the wrong way to avoid an accident, you could be dead or you could be unscathed.
Yeah.
And there's a chance that you're going to make the right decision.
Yeah.
Chance is going to decide whether you made the right decision or not. So I'm not sure that if, we always put ourselves in those situations, right? If I were running things, I'd be all the way out. But you really step back and say, okay, what information would be important to have truly? Who provides it? Is it going to be biased or unbiased? I mean, you think about it, it's like how you would go over and do a do-over. So in 2018, what could the federal and state governments in all of the country have done to have been better prepared? Now, would they be able to justify, this is another thing, the expense it would take to be that prepared?
Right.
Because we don't know if it's going to happen or not. So let's say this. Yellowstone starts to hiccup, right?
Yeah.
We're pretty screwed here in the Midwest, bro. We're gonna be, they're gonna be digging us up like it was Pompeii back in the day, man. Could be, worst case scenario, but what are you really prepared for that eventuality? Now, how much time do you spend preparing for that eventuality? How much money do you spend preparing for that eventuality? It is still a very small probability, not zero, but a small probability. So step back and say, are these guys really incompetent? Are they really, if you want to go really, is this a conspiracy of bad people doing stuff? I don't know, I don't have enough faith in people that they would be have the ability to coordinate.
I don't believe it either. No.
So, so before we start to really, cast those, but now where we're at, Michigan's got this huge number of cases, right? But we're testing, like for one of the schools in our conference, I think it's Heartland, has like 800 kids that are in spring sports.
Yeah.
So if they're testing all 800 kids 2 times a week, so 1,600 tests, and they get 7 positives, not only do all those teams shut down in quarantine, because that's the way the rules are here. I tell you that?
No.
You get exposed. Like if you have COVID,
yeah,
and you're on my team, the entire team shut down.
Yeah.
The entire team's 10 days.
Yeah.
Out of school, no sports, no nothing. I don't know if they're doing that in Ohio.
They were at first, and now it's just they do like the contact tracing if you ate at the lunch table with but other than that, no.
I don't see, like, I've never seen a statistic that says, your probability, if you're within 6 feet of getting this virus, is whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be some sort of a model for it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So out of our team, right, and especially high school kids, high school and below, your probability of dying is not zero, but it's infinitesimally small.
It's a lot smaller than the flu.
Yeah.
For high school, for kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So, why are the decisions made the way they are? It's because you can't take the chance of having one child die.
Yep.
My question to you, Mark, is this: is that reasonable?
It's a whole different world. So, our a logical brain would say one child could die. He could also get hit by a truck when he walks out his front door, or he could die of the flu, like we talked about earlier. But you're right. They're not going to make the call. And the other thing is they won't make the call now and go, oh, okay, well, this was something that we thought at one time, and now it doesn't look like it's quite as bad as we thought it was, because they're afraid someone's going to go, well, then I'm going to sue you because you closed down my business for 3 months, and I went out of business. I think they're just so afraid of the lawyers and the lawsuits that it paralyzes them. They're paralyzed with this probably rational fear that the lawsuits are coming, but I think they're coming one way or another.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't sue the state.
Yeah.
I mean, Ohio's got that whole thing with Mitch's thing where, you remember that, Mitch Potter?
I remember that name. What?
Club. Remember the guys that falsified the study for the NSCA?
Oh, yes.
That
Yes. Yes.
was Jim.
Yeah.
And, they falsified the injury data.
Yeah.
And so now I actually, you know what? I've been meaning to give him a call. I'd give him a call. Yeah, because like they were settling and then not settling, and then and it was the state of Ohio because it was Ohio State University, and you're limited in your damages because it's the state.
Yeah.
And believe me, I'm probably doing a terrible job of going and explaining that, but that's my understanding of it.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah. We sued as a group of gyms. We sued the state, but it was to reopen. It wasn't for monetary losses, But we won. We won, and we actually the gyms opened up before anybody because we won this lawsuit.
Any cases
in the gym?
Yeah.
I think we had a ton of cases back when they thought it was the flu.
Yeah.
But knock on wood, not since we know it was COVID.
Yeah. So my son got it. And so he quarantined at his mom's house because like if I had pop positive at all, my wrestling team would have been shut down and all those kids wouldn't have gone to district regionals or state.
Well, you'd be able to sleep at night after that, right? Be brutal.
No. So it would be terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because these kids had an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's this like one of my kids was the kid that broke his elbow in the district finals, right? This kid. And he had a hairline fracture, broke the end of it off. I gotta post about this because once he gets the screws in his elbow, I'm gonna post a thing because I've been so lucky to have such mentally tough athletes.
Yeah.
So he breaks his elbow in the district finals. Okay. Wrestles regionals, gets to the regional finals, defaults to the really good kid from CC, and safely because honestly, because this Rojas is tough as nails. I think he's going one of the big schools like maybe Penn State or somewhere. So then you get to the state meet. He's got a brace on his elbow and he's got limited extension, right? So he gets to the state semifinals. There was two really, really good kids in his weight class. They're probably heads and tails above everybody else. But you know what? Got chopped, near arm chopped a couple of times. Elbow hurt really bad.
Yeah.
Ends up losing that match, and then he comes to come back. Same thing happens in the constellation semis. Gets chopped. Elbow's jacked up. So we defaulted him in 6th place. So this kid with a broken elbow, he has a huge piece of bone sticking not attached to his elbow. Found a way to go all the way through all of that, right? That would have never been expressed if we had contact tracing for my team.
Yeah.
If something had happened where one of our kids had been exposed, that means everybody's exposed, and guess what? Bad news.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'd actually had a lawsuit. This is going to be kind of a weird run-on sentence, by the way. Hey, I'm old, man. I can do that stuff.
I understand. I get it.
So there was some Division II and Division III because the way they did the states. One of my old teammates is the director of MHSAA for wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Super good dude. Super good dude. And we ended up having because these are what the rules are mandated by the states. So the high school, like I think you guys, Ohio State's, OSSAA, whatever it is.
OHSSA, something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
So they're essentially, like the NCAA. So they can't do it. They got to do stuff. So there's a couple of kids got contact traced. They were negative on their COVID test, but one of their teammates popped positive. So there was a whole chunk of kids that weren't going to be able to wrestle in the state meet. So when they went to court the day before the state meet, and a judge, and I still haven't found the case because this is not one of those filings, the court ruled that put an injunction on it, and so that they said that the kids could wrestle because they weren't positive.
Yeah.
Basically, what he said was, this thing doesn't make sense for this situation. Now, because of the filings, because a couple of my clients are attorneys, they said that filing or that thing doesn't end up in whatever the computer system is for the cases. So you can't go and look up what he did or why he did. He just said an opinion, gave a restraining order, and then the kids wrestled in the D2s and D3s. We had a bracket, I think, in D1s where a kid got defaulted because people got pulled out of the state meet all the way to the semis. But hey, listen, Dan and the guys, Hutchison and all the guys that put on our state meet, I've known these refs for a long time.
Yeah.
Refs and the coaches, and I'm like, they really did the best they really could with terrible circumstances.
Not the kid's fault, not the people running its fault, but they're dealing with the craziness.
Seeing, because imagine if this was your senior year and is the sport, here's a great question, is a sport and a kid's experience worth the risk of potentially spreading a disease?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So argue.
I don't know if I can argue it. It's my son went through a similar thing. He qualified for states, indoor track and field, and we were worried that he was going to, get popped by somebody at his lunch table. So he ended up eating lunch for 2 weeks in the nurse's office every day by himself, like a some kind of monk in a monastery, in silence, because it was a big deal to him. And he knew that the one way he was going to get popped was being at a lunch table without his mask on because he was eating. So
one of the guys I know from, I don't know if you ever heard of these guys, is Temperance Bedford. They have had one of the best teams in Michigan for a long time. And, since we were, since way back, right? They've always said, you're Bedford kids. We want to wrestle Bedford kids. It's a rural community. These guys wrestle hogs and they're doing stuff and they're super tough.
Yeah.
So a guy named Kevin Vogel, who's a friend of mine I've known for a long time, had the 2 kids he could bring to state. He had an exposure, right, or something like that, where his whole team got pulled out of the dual meet championship and had almost all of his team sidelined because of exposure. The 2 kids that could go to state had already had COVID, so they were okay to go.
Wow.
And man, I heard about that. I was heartbroken for him because the guy works his butt off.
Yeah.
Excellent coach, just everything good going on. Same thing happened to another very, very good team in our conference. Westland John Glenn. Bill Polk's been a top level coach for a very long time, and his team got shut down for they have a very good dual meet team. Okay, very, very tough, and they got shut down for the state to go into. I think it was districts or regionals that they got shut down, couldn't go. And he had a few kids be able to go to the states. None of the kids are dying. None of the kids are being hospitalized. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, prediction time for you.
Oh boy.
If we do this again in a year, are we still having this conversation about this, or are we back to some semblance of normalcy?
I think it's going to get incredibly weird this year. It's going to make 2021 is going to make 2020 look normal.
Could very well be, right?
In terms of secondary and tertiary things, if you look at the price of lumber.
Yeah.
I saw a price online for a sheet of plywood for $96.
Yeah, we've got some people trying to build a house at our gym, and it's insane.
The secondary tertiary consequences of closing the economy down. I was driving home. I had to go do an errand, right? So I drive out of town. Then I come back in, and I noticed there's a strip mall. I think you remember coming right off the highway. It's on the right side, okay? And there's been, there used to be a video store right there, right? So it's a pretty big place. It's
like a
empty.
Blockbuster deal.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Blockbuster. It was something else. It was another one of those. And it was empty, right? But I noticed there's like 4 other places now that are empty. empty, so, and I was in Ann Arbor, had dinner. We have a thing, one of my best friends and I have been having dinner on each other's birthdays for probably 20 some odd years now together. And right across the street, there's a Pure Bar. That is, it's like kind of like it's a fitness thing. It's kind of like, I think they use the rails and they do a bunch of stretching and positional stuff.
Oh, yes, I do know what that is. Yeah.
And I'm looking across, and I was with my girlfriend at the time. Not my girlfriend. I was with my girlfriend, not my girlfriend at the time. My girlfriend, same girlfriend.
Same girl.
Same girl. I mean, we're going to be common law married probably more than anything else. So anyway, I looked across the street, and it finally registered with me. What was wrong? It was where somebody had set up this Pure Bar business. It was empty. It still had the name up on top, but it was for sale by owner. And somebody who wanted to provide a service spent probably $100,000 plus, maybe more than that. People who saved up some money, got some loans, borrowed some money from family members. Who knows? You know how small businesses will go, right?
Yep.
And those hopes and dreams are gone.
Yeah.
And Amazon is now worth $500 billion or whatever it is, because big businesses weren't shut down. We killed mom and pop.
Yeah.
And so in terms of wealth transfer, I think and you want to see a prediction, that's going to accelerate over the next year.
Yeah.
April 15th of next year, you're going to see an acceleration of that. Real estate prices crashing. As a result, I also think that some of the other policy things that are happening with oil, the secondary, tertiary consequences of those are everything that we have. You're going to see a price spiral,
right?
Because of cost of transportation. So that would be a pretty safe bet, in my opinion. I also think certain commodities are going to go up. Like one of my clients, she actually stopped in while this was going on, dropped off some stuff for me. Her plant is a GM plant, right? They make they do engines, right? So they drill the engines together and they put transmissions, and it's off of Van Born Road. They got shut down for a week because they can't get chips for the transmissions. So, and luckily they found another source, so they're only going to be shut down for a week.
Yeah.
The ripple effects of the shutdown are going to be with us for a while. I mean, heck, you get back to normal. Like some of the clients I have, their businesses flourished. Other people, not so much.
Yeah.
How many local gyms have closed where you're at?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't follow a lot of them around here, but probably some of the ones that are under the radar are gone. I don't think any of the CrossFit boxes went under.
I think a lot of them, all the guys that de-affiliated, that's the other thing that's hard to keep track of.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't, so we were down for 3 months, and everyone around here is pretty established. They've been in the game a long time. There's not too many new boxes opening up, but so they probably weathered the storm, but yeah, I think you're right. I think then the government will keep those interest rates low and create more inflation. And
well, yeah, it's hard to have inflation with interest rates low.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got if you see a spike in interest rates, which will be an inversion of the yield curve, that'll be a pretty good sign that inflation's coming.
It's coming along. Yeah. Anyhow, we didn't talk about fitness at all.
Oh, we did.
Barely. We mentioned some of our clients. All right.
The thing is that our business isn't about what exercises you're doing. Right. It's about how you're taking care of your people.
Yep.
It really is. It's like, one like Stacy came in this morning. I mean, I try not to work on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If I can work 3 days a week, I'm good, right? So Cece comes in. She slipped on her stepdaughter's skate, bruised her heel, right? And it's cool that I can take care of her and work around her heel.
Yeah.
Like if she were in a general class, I might not have been able to do that.
Well,
very difficult.
after the last time we talked, I changed a lot of my business model around, and I'm working almost exclusively with. I mean, I teach a couple classes here and there, but the majority of what I do now is one-on-one training with people, and I'm having a lot of fun and a lot of success with it because I can focus on that person and fix them. And it's
there's a trade-off because I've getting some pressure to reopen another big gym. And like people want to hand me money to do it again.
Yeah.
I'm like, having people work for me again. That's my threshold, man. And like, I'm just not that just don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
And and what kind of mid-size thing? And like you know Tim Dimmel, who Tim Dimmel is?
I don't.
He owns CrossFit Palo Alto. He's been one of my athletes and one of my good friends for a long time. And his gym, when you sign up for a membership there, you're buying a spot in a class.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he does it, and which is really cool because now you have like tight-knit groups of people. And if you've got the same people all the time, like, I mean, there's a lot of good things to it. And I like the way he does it. I would probably go with a smaller place, but it won't stay small.
Right.
My garage is going to stay small.
Yeah.
You have to, right?
Yeah.
But if like I got a pretty good piece of real estate available and for a reasonable amount of rent, low overhead, and be able to trick it out pretty nice, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if I really want to take that thing and go back into the,
Yeah, I'd rather go the opposite direction towards where you're at. That's my future, I think.
Well, yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's there's pros and cons to all of it, right? Like for instance, I'm taking my son down to what's the name of the town in Ohio? Have you ever heard of Dave Canterbury?
No.
He's a survival guy, right? I mean, he does a bunch of bush crafting and cool stuff. So I'm going to go down there with Hunter, and we're going to spend 3 days in the woods.
Okay.
Crafting, right?
Yeah.
And if I had a gym where I had employees and doing all kinds of stuff, I could walk away and do this. You know what? I have to adjust my schedule, and I'm going to take a pay loss.
Yep.
Because I'm redoing that. So that's the downside of it. The upside is I don't have to worry about all the employee things. Who's the trainer banging today, right?
I've been there.
Yeah. Don't mess with my business, man. Don't mess with my business.
I know.
So
all right, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you doing this. I'd love to do it again. Hopefully next time we talk, it'll be better.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
I hope the economy, our situation in life is better.
I agree.
Yeah. Good talking to you, Mark.
You too, brother. See you soon. I'll let you know when it's coming out.
Yeah, man.
All right, it's been the Refined Savage. See ya.
See ya, man.